Here we are again. Welcome to another edition of 3 the Hard Way. We are back in the house. Man, these weeks seem to go pretty fast. I always look forward to Sundays because that's when we record. But as always, man, this show would not be the show without my fellas in the house once again. Mr. Hot Rod. Hot Rod, what's up, man?
What is going on? 3 the Hard Way. Y'all know we stacking it. You know what I'm saying? This is what we doing. Let's get at it.
Gotta get it going, but we can't get it going without the captain of the ship, Mr. Terrence Austin T. What's up, man?
What's going on, everyone out there? 3 the Hard Way Nation. What's happening? What's happening? Happy Father's Day to everybody, too. And
yes,
including
happy
you two
Father's
gentlemen.
Day. Yes, sir.
Happy Father's Day to
gentlemen.
you as well and everybody
right.
out there in 3 the Hard Way land. Well, fellas, let's get into it. Indiana Pacers, OKC, they're battling it out. Series is tied 2-2. Very entertaining series. I didn't think it was I really didn't think it was going to be anything less. I know people were kind of disappointed in terms of ratings of who made it, but you got two bona fide teams that can put the ball in the basket. They can score it. And both teams seems to be really peaking right now. That's why the series is so competitive. So I throw it to you guys. What are your thoughts about the series so far being tied 2-2?
Well, let me go first, Rod, because you have a great way of cleaning up what I miss out on, okay? You have a great way. Let me start with this. Indiana blew an opportunity to go up 3-1, okay?
Yes.
That last game, OKC demonstrated that you have to play 4 full quarters because they were, how would I put it? They were grinding uphill the whole game, okay? The whole game. And come the fourth quarter, I wrote down a few little stats. The difference was 31-17 outscoring OKC, okay, in that fourth quarter. Jalen Williams stepped up big time. He stepped up big time. They weren't hitting the three-point shot. They weren't as a team. So Jalen Williams said, that's okay. I'll work in the paint. Alongside of SGA, who was coming up clutch, okay? He was coming up clutch, grinding all the way. Down the stretch, Indiana missed a lot of shots that they normally would make, too, okay? They missed a lot of shots. And I have to tell you, man, that daggone Alex Caruso or something.
Oh,
you talk about a Swiss Army knife. He's a beast, man.
Yes, sir.
He's a beast. And we have to remember, too, he already has a ring, okay?
Yep.
Whether you want to call it a bubble championship or not, he has a ring, and he plays. He grinds, he plays. He's
gritty. He's gritty.
Yeah, he's gritty. And there's really no answer for him. So here's my take. Tomorrow is what? Game 5. Must win for Indiana. If Indiana can pull this off, it will go 7. If Indiana can win tomorrow, it will go 7. However, if OKC wins tomorrow, that may be it. They may finish it off in Oklahoma, okay? They may finish it off. So again, like I say, this was the first time that they showed clutch down the stretch and the willingness to grind the whole way. And Indiana couldn't pull it out this time at the end. They just couldn't. So that's my take on it.
I agree 150% with your take, T. I love that. Listen, Pacers are in trouble. Yeah, they had an opportunity, and they let it slip through their fingers. If they could have gone up 3-1 against the Thunder, then now, tails start to pucker because, in Oklahoma City, because now you got that advantage. Right now, it's 2-2. So now, for me, I'm calling 7. Just like T is saying, but Indiana has to win this. If Indiana does not win Game 5, it's a done deal. But I think what I saw more from the Thunder is, once again, that suffocating defense. They defend, and they defend 4 quarters, okay? A couple keys I'll throw at you. Chet Holmgren had 14 and 15. That's Chet Holmgren. That's what they look for. That double-double, okay? Jalen Williams had 27 on top of SGA's 35, okay? And then that, like T is saying, that Alex Caruso, we act like he's not been in that situation before. He has. He's been in that situation before. But then you look, and the keys for Indiana that stood out for me, Halliburton only has 7 assists. That's not Tyrese Halliburton. He's got to get other guys in the mix. Miles Turner only had 12 points and 2 boards. You're not going to win You're not going to win basketball games like that. That's not how Indiana's built to win. Okay. So this is a real crucial game, Game 5. This is now Indiana's proven that they can beat Oklahoma City. But Oklahoma City has proven we can pound Indiana. So I'm curious, really curious to see about Game 5 and to see how this turns out. But Indiana, they really squandered an opportunity to put a seal on this series, because we all know, and we can proudly say, there's only one team in the NBA that's come back from a 3-1 deficit. We'll let y'all figure that out.
That's our boy.
Okay,
that's right.
So
that's
there's only one team that came back from a 3-1 deficit to win the championship. So the Indiana Pacers really squandered an opportunity.
Yeah, but if you let Stephen A. tell it, if you let Stephen A. Smith tell it, Rod, he will say, well, Draymond Green got suspended, so that really doesn't count. That's what he hangs his hat on when he talks about the Cleveland Cavaliers. Every time you talk championship about the Cleveland Cavaliers. But enough with that. I think the Pacers let everything slip out of their hands. Just a missed opportunity, T and Rod. Man, while I was watching that game and the Pacers were up, I said, man, the Pacers are about to win a championship. But they let the OKC Thunder make timely baskets. Yep. Rod, I think you hit the nail dead on the head in terms of their suffocating defense. They really ramped up the defense, especially down the stretch, to close the door. Just timely defensive stops. And usually when you look back at a championship team, you go back to these series and you find these moments where you're like, yep, that's championship DNA. That's championship DNA. And you're starting to see that from the OKC Thunder. When they won that game the other night, I said, even though I had picked them before the series started, I was like, for sure, OKC is going to win them a championship this year. I would say this about the Indiana Pacers, because you were talking about Halliburton, having 7 assists, and that's not Halliburton. Mm-hmm. Pascal Siakam, he's got to be the best player on the floor for the Indiana Pacers.
Yes.
It can't be Halliburton.
Right.
If you look at the games where the Indiana Pacers have had success, Pascal Siakam has always been the leading scorer. He's always been the best player on the floor in those games. And so he can't wilt in these moments. Not saying that he is, but he's got to put himself to the forefront and be the best player on the floor for the Indiana Pacers. And I think, barring that, I just don't think the Indiana Pacers have a chance. If you guys had to pick a key for Game 5 for the Indiana Pacers to win or have a shot to win the game, what would it be?
One thing, Halliburton has to stop turning the ball over, okay? Yeah. That was one thing that, he was great for, that we were praising him for in the past series and early on in this series. But one thing, he's got to stop turning the ball over. Got to stop turning the ball over. And then, like you say, Siakam has got to, step it up and just turn on the burners and be that dog. He really has to. He has to. So those two things are key. Or, hey, they'll leave Oklahoma City, as the runner-ups. And we'll be talking about them in the summertime with our Cavs and the Knicks and everybody else, So those two things have to happen in my book. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very simple. The Indiana Pacers had to get back to what they do best. And what they do best is ball movement, man movement, and other people being able to hit timely shots. Your Ben Matherins, your Obi Toppin. Now, Obi has 17. Obi Toppin has had a wonderful series.
Yeah,
he has. He's playing himself into a bag. That's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
The Pacers have to play team ball. And it starts with Tyrese Halliburton. He is the one. He is the spoon that stirs the drink. And so, like T is saying, he can't turn the ball over. He's got to be able to distribute. Miles Turner has to score. Okay, these guys have to score. And with Pascal Siakam, I'm gonna be honest with you. He's got to get out of that Toronto Raptor mentality.
Yes.
Where he acquiesced to so many people in Toronto. Okay. Yeah. He's got to understand that he is that dude. He can put guys out on the post. He can take them outside. He can penetrate. Pascal Siakam, and you said it, L Train. He has got to be the best player on the floor. He's got to.
Sure does.
Okay? And for Oklahoma City, they just got to continue to do what they're doing. If they continue to do what they're doing, then we're talking about the Oklahoma City Thunder being the NBA champions. Okay?
Right. And then one other thing, too, before you go, L Train, I love how the refs are letting them play, too. Okay?
Yeah.
The refs aren't going to decide this thing. They're letting them play, and I love that. So I can say that there's been some good officiating so far in this championship run.
Yeah,
good officiating.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. When you have two teams going at it like this, you want good officiating. It makes all the difference in the series. It creates for better optics when you're watching these playoff games. So I'm glad the referees have been calling it the way that they've been calling it. You know, when you have a platform like this, fellas, you always have a lot of opinions, and there are going to be days where we hit the nail dead on the head for some of the content that we have out there and things that we talk about, but there's also going to be times when we are wrong. So I want to take the time. I'm glad Hot Rod sent out a text this past week about Darius Garland. I was very critical of Darius Garland and his toe injury and not playing in the game. It looks to me that his toe injury way more significant than anybody thought his toe injury would be, and that he wanted to get out there and play, but looking like he's going to be out 4 to 6 months, he really didn't have the ability to get out there and play, and probably should not have came back and played anyway. So I owe Darius Garland an apology because I thought, man, get out there and play. And so, Hot Rod, I was glad you sent that information out this week to myself and T.
Yeah, well, I knew it was something because I was looking for him in Game 2 against the Pacers, and he did not come out in Game 2. And then in Game 5, I watched him just absolutely labor around the court. He could not move. And I just think it wasn't Darius. The Cavaliers organization was just being somewhat deceitful. I don't understand why. They just didn't say that, because you're talking about this is not a 4 to 6 week injury. They're saying 4 to 6 months.
That's a long time.
That is a severe injury to the toe. And so to give Darius Garland credit, he even played Game 5. To give him that credit. So I'm not going to question his toughness because he came out and he tried to play on an obviously broken toe, okay?
Right.
Obviously that it was broken, and so he came out. Now there's an issue because, of course, the scuttlebutt back in Cleveland was to trade Darius Garland. Of course, the Minnesota Timberwolves came up again about trading for Darius Garland. It is hot and heavy that this conversation about Darius Garland going to Minnesota. They're saying, does this prohibit a trade? And there are some that say Minnesota will still trade for Darius Garland. But it's like you said, L Train, what are you giving up to get Darius Garland? And by him being out 4 to 6 months, he's not going to be there for the start of training camp. He's not going to be there for the start of the season. So my question would be, why would Minnesota want to do that? That makes it to me, it's nonsensical to me.
Yeah, I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are looking for that ball handler, and I think they are willing to wait. If you look at the trade they made this year with Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, I think they went into that knowing that there was going to be some chemistry issues early on. If you look at the first part of the season, the Minnesota Timberwolves were under 500 for a good portion of the early part of the season. And as they start to build that chemistry, they got better and better and better throughout the year. So we've always been the type of organization where we don't put a whole lot of stock in being around early or peaking early in the season. So I think for a Darius Garland, if they can get that playmaker and that ball handler, depending on what they would have to give up, they would really look seriously at that trade and make that trade and just let things work out as the course of the season went on. That's just how the Minnesota Timberwolves operate. But I like the fact that you brought up what I mentioned last week, because I just don't know if I'm the Cleveland Cavaliers and I'm looking at giving up a player like Darius Garland, like I want a haul back, a realistic haul back. And so I'm just looking at the Timberwolves roster. They are really depleted of draft picks, so it's not like the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be able to tap the draft pick market from the Minnesota Timberwolves. They just don't have it. They gave all their draft picks away for the Rudy Gobert trade. So now you're looking at personnel and you're looking at young talent. What are the Minnesota Timber? I'm not giving up Terrence Shannon Jr. Like, he's not going to be involved in that trade because I think that dude is going to be box office as he continues to play for the Minnesota Timberwolves. But what are they going to have to give up? And if you're able to pull off a trade with Darius Garland, what is that team going to look like with Darius Garland and Anthony Edwards on that team? If you don't have depth and if you don't have a bench, why make the trade? I don't know what trade is out there for the Minnesota Timberwolves. To be quite honest with you, I've heard a lot of them. But every trade that I've heard, probably with the exception of like a Trae Young, the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to have to give up a lot, man. And I just don't know if there's a trade out there to be had.
So don't even bring up Trae Young. Don't even bring up Trae Young from last week. But here's my thing before you go, Rod. I just want him to heal and get well. I'm in no rush for him to return. Maybe after All-Star break, okay? Because no need for us getting the number 1 seed because see how far that got us. So I just want him to just heal and take your time coming back. The Cavs are going to be in the playoffs. I don't know where we're going to be as far as seed, but just, hey, stay out till you get healthy and then come playoff time, be ready. So like I say, no rush for him to get back. No rush whatsoever.
So there's a couple of trades that hit the wind that I got a hold of. And the Timberwolves, when it come to Darius Garland, the trade that was suggested was Darius Garland, Isaac Okoro, and Dean Wade for DiVincenzo. He's slipping my mind. DiVincenzo and Naz Reid. I'm sorry. Naz Reid, DiVincenzo, and they would throw in something else. But the Cavaliers are really trying to. They don't want to trade Darius Garland, but right now they're really seeing that this backcourt of him and Donovan Mitchell is not working, because Darius just can't stay healthy. So they're looking to, back away from that. And so I know that's the one trade that came across the board was for Naz Reid and DiVincenzo. I love Naz Reid. I love Naz Reid. Yeah, I think that dude is a stretch big. He can defend. I like that. Yeah, but it all boils down to what you're saying, L Train, is what is Minnesota going to give up for that? That's the great question.
And looking at the other big trade out there, and this is up your way, Rod, up in the Arizona area, you got the whole KD speculation where he's going to end up. It's starting to look like, first, it was hot and heavy about the Timberwolves possibly getting him. I think that's starting to fade a little bit. You heard, I think it came from KD's camp where he would like to end up. I think one of the teams was Miami Heat. The other one was the Houston Rockets. And the other one was the Spurs.
Right.
So it's looking like the Timberwolves may be on the outside looking in. Where do you guys see KD ending up? Some of these destinations that I hear him wanting to go to really doesn't make sense to me. Like, I like the Spurs. If he was going to go to the Spurs, I don't like the Miami Heat. Like, I really don't see that as being a great option for him other than the weather in South Beach. But other than that, where do you see this? How do you see this playing out for KD?
Take it, Rob. But before, he's in the last year, I think the fourth year of a $198 million deal, too. So last week I thought he would, he was a bonus, not a bonus, a cheap deal possibly, but that doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it.
So with KD, it's only so many places he can go. I mean, he's 36 years old. Don't get me wrong. He's still a walking bucket, but he's 36 years old. Okay. He don't take care of his body like LeBron does. All right.
Yeah. He gets hurt too. He
ain't no weightlifter. That's not Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is a pure scorer. So Miami doesn't make sense from a personnel standpoint. Yeah, you got Tyler Hero there, Bam Adebayo. That would be nice to throw a Kevin Durant in there. Udonis Haslem was on the Pat McAfee show, and he's director of player personnel, so it wasn't so much that he could talk about. But, they would love to have Kevin Durant there. He's not going back to Brooklyn because Brooklyn has the cap space, and they have the assets to acquire him. He's not going back to Brooklyn. He's already turned down Golden State. Here's the thing that I don't think Kevin Durant understands. You don't have much time left to play in this league. And so for you to sit around and start turning down teams, come on, Kevin. you're going to mess around and the teams are going to say, hey, we don't want you. That's just like I was asked the question, would the Cavaliers take LeBron James back? Not necessarily.
You're right.
Okay? Not necessarily. And so, but Miami probably is the best place for KD to go to finish out his career. Now, if he wants to win a championship, there's some other places,
the Spurs.
The Spurs. I did hear Houston. Houston would be a nice spot for him because they got a lot of young pieces there. But the question, right now, Matt Ishbia, the owner of the Phoenix Suns out here, is like a petty penny. I don't understand some of the moves that he's made out here. He's taken Jordan Ott, which was the assistant coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and a lot of folks don't know him and Dan Gilbert, they hate each other. So that was more of a petty move to try to break up that coaching staff to go get Jordan Ott. And so instead of focusing in on, rebuilding his franchise, to answer the question, Miami probably is the best destination in terms of Kevin Durant finishing his career.
And then the funny thing about it, those teams you listed, those are the teams that are in the forefront. There'll always be somebody that just come out of nowhere and then boom.
That's
you
right.
Wake up, 6 o'clock, and guess where he's going? And one of those things where no one saw that coming. So keep that in mind as well. There's always that sleeper out there.
And also, if he went to San Antonio, would he be willing to come off the bench? I know people don't talk about that or think about that, but you got the reigning rookie of the year on that squad. You got Wembanyama coming back. You got De'Aaron Fox coming back. I mean, you could find a place for KD, but there is a possibility that KD could come off the bench. Would he be willing to do that in the later stages of his career, or will he pull an Allen Iverson? Because that's why AI wasn't in the league his last couple years, because he refused to come off the bench.
KD loves the ball. I could see him possibly doing it. Possibly. I could, possibly, because he loves the ball. Yeah, he loves the ball.
Yeah, when you look at the NBA now, it's different than when LeBron left Cleveland and went to the Miami Heat. There's this little thing in the NBA now called the second apron. And the second apron restricts what you can do. It's basically trying to run an organization and win a championship with both hands tied behind your back. Right. So it makes you hesitate. It makes you think about building these super teams. Kevin Durant is owed about $55 million next year. And then the year after that, wherever he goes and signs, is probably going to be upward of $60 million a year. Teams right now, especially a team like the Spurs, who has a lot of really, really good pieces that are there right now, has Castle, Rookie of the Year. You add Kevin Durant to that, you're probably going to be in the second apron. If you go to the Minnesota Timberwolves, who just got rid of Big Cat because they were going to be in the second apron, now you're back in the second apron with a 37-year-old Kevin Durant. So now if you make those moves, if you make a move for Kevin Durant at that price, and you're a team that's maybe one player away, because these are the teams that are looking at Kevin Durant, odds are you're probably going to be in the second apron. So you better make sure that collection of players that you have is going to win you a championship, because you're not going to be able to make any moves. And that's the way the NBA has just set this thing up. And that's why I don't think there's going to be a real big rush to sign Kevin Durant. I think a lot of these organizations are going to have to do some thinking if they want to do that. That's why I don't like it for the Timberwolves, man. It doesn't move the needle for me. It's going to be a one-year rental for the most part. You're not going to be able to add really anything to your team, and you're going to deplete your team to be able to get a player like Kevin Durant. It just doesn't make sense to me, fellas. It doesn't make sense.
Gotcha.
Right? No, it doesn't.
Okay. Wait and see. We'll wait and see.
Yep. One player I want to mention that seems like he's on the move, and I don't know if this is a credible rumor that I heard or not. Russell Westbrook is out in Denver. I heard that he was looking overseas or maybe signed a contract overseas. Can anybody confirm that? I know he's out with the Nuggets. He denied his player option from what I heard, but I'm not sure whether he's looking still in the NBA or if he's looking to go overseas. You guys heard anything about that?
I haven't heard a thing. What'd you say, Rod?
I heard that he was looking over. I want to say Israel, but I don't confirm it. But he is looking to play overseas. Originally, I got when he announced his retirement, that he was retiring from the NBA. And then a day later, I saw that he was potentially signing with a team overseas. I still think Russell Westbrook can play in the league. I still think he has the ability to play in the NBA. I honestly, and I'm just speculating, I have no confirmation of this at all. I just think he's tired of all the politics and all the yada yada that he's had to endure over his entire career. And I think at this point, he just wants to finish. He wants to continue to play. And the funny thing is everyone that has played with Russell Westbrook says he is a great teammate. He gets such a bad rap because of him being as demonstrative as he is on the court. And so he literally is. I think he's still effective. Is he still the triple-double Russell Westbrook? No. But he is a leader who has the ability to take a young team and guide them in the right direction. I would love to see him in Houston.
Have him.
I would love.
I
would love to see him back in Oklahoma City in a veteran role. I would love to see him on a team to help these young ball players grow. But right now, it's all about what Russell Westbrook can do. He's a Hall of Famer. If he retired today, he's a Hall of Famer. Okay, unless he's still chasing a championship, and we got to understand, he might just, like I said, he might just want to get out of the league to get away from all the hoopla. We don't know.
Yeah, that's it. And I can really see him going overseas because he's got that clothing line that's doing
that's
great,
right. That's a good point.
Yeah. But then again, he's got people working for him. He can go over and play ball for a few months and they hold it down. But I agree with you, Rod. He's still got some tread on the tire left. He brings you defense. He brings you energy. I don't see him going overseas, and I'd love for him to stay in the league here. I really would. He's a guy that I've always said he doesn't know how to play in low gear. He always plays in fifth gear, man. That's him. Yeah. He gives you the most. Gives you the most.
Awesome. We got all this player movement, man. This is an exciting time for the NBA. You got the NBA finals. You got all this speculation about where players are going to go. I'm sure the NBA is really, really happy about that. So it's going to be interesting to see how this stuff pans out. Fellas, let's reach into the question bag like we did last week. Got a lot of questions, some really good ones. I tried to pull out some really, really good ones. I appreciate all the people that send me the emails and
wonder if Sarah sent something again. Sarah from Florida. Right. I think she was from Florida, right?
Yeah. I got a Rebecca. I got a Rebecca from Utah that has a really good question. She's a big time college football fan. She said, "Hey guys, is the transfer portal worse for college football parity than NIL?" That's a good question.
That's a great question. Go ahead, Rod. Take a shot at that. That's a great question.
The transfer portal. The question is it made things worse?
Yeah, is it worse for college parity than NIL?
Ooh, that I would say no. But for me, having coached football, the NIL thing is, I've been wanting these young athletes to be paid for a very long time because they put so much of their bodies on the line for these universities, and and then they get their likeness put on sports video games, and they don't see that type of money to come in. All they see, of course, is the financial aid that or scholarships and things of that nature. But these guys and these young women are out here putting their bodies on the line. So I don't have a problem with NIL. I think it needs to be, regulated a little bit more. And I think they'll figure that out. Now the transfer portal, the transfer portal has made it to where if kids don't want to work hard, they take off. And I'm seeing that a lot. I'm seeing even in high school sports. I don't know if this happens where you are, L Train, but here in Arizona, you can reclassify. So let's say you are a junior in high school and you don't want to graduate your senior year. You can reclassify and come out a year later. It is just asinine to me.
It's the Wild West.
Yeah. So with the transfer portal, it gives an athlete an opportunity, to go to a different school, but it also says, hey, if I can't start here at this spot, at this place, I'll just go there. It's kind of like the participation award. Okay, you were out there, you had the uniform on. Here's a trophy, Billy. No, you need to work because you have to earn your keep. You understand? I mean, even with the men that you serve and the men that serve with you, you know what I'm saying? There is an expectation that they get the job done. And if they don't get the job done, there is a consequence behind it. Right. They can't just say, oh, well, here you go, sir. Here's my stripes. No. You know what I'm saying? It's teaching responsibility. So I think the transfer portal is probably worse for parity when it compared to NIL. That's my take.
Yeah. Now on the other hand, Rod, I know some kids around here that great athletes, well, really, really good athletes, okay, and go to the smaller HBCUs around here, Norfolk State and Hampton, okay, and they have aspirations of doing the best that they can, and maybe next season Virginia Tech call them up, or UVA, or Wake Forest, or even Michigan, a bigger school. That they didn't get to look at first, but if they do well over at Norfolk State, then maybe they can move on. So as far as that, I'm for it, in instances like that.
Yeah.
Okay, in instances like that.
That's different because you got kids that's trying to elevate their game. They're working hard and they're trying to elevate their game. I'm talking about the lazy bums who don't want to work hard, who don't want to get in the weight room and work out, but their expectation is, oh, well, coach such and such should start me. You know how many parents I had walk up to me, and I'm sure you have too, L Train, why ain't my kid playing? Come to practice and find out. Why ain't my kid playing? They're not at the off-season workowers. Come and find out. Well, I'll just take them to another school. Okay, well, if they want to take that laziness, then go ahead and take that laziness.
That's right.
Okay? So that's what I'm saying. I just think the transfer portal is a win, but it also is a loss because you got good players who elevate, but you also got them scum bums who just don't want to work hard.
Yeah.
Right. There you go. So I hope that answers.
I
hope that answers.
Great question. Yeah. And then great takes from you guys. The one word that I hit on in her question was the word parity. Has there been parity in college football over the last 20 years? There hasn't been much parity. The one thing with the transfer portal and the NIL stuff is that it creates an environment of corruption. You are getting coaches now that are poaching players off of other teams, and they're doing it illegally and not in the right way. Because you got these players that are heading to other teams that have these deals in place. Like, it takes a long time to iron out some of these deals. So the communication had to be with this specific or certain player on the team throughout the year through different channels. It may not be directly with the coach and the player, but you got a bunch of people that can communicate for whatever player, any organization may be interested in and having them come to the team. So it just creates an environment of just some immoral stuff. And fellas, guess what? It's just the beginning. This NIL stuff is just ramping up. The transfer portal is just ramping up. You wait till these players and these secret under-the-table agents really get a feel for what's going on. Man, it's going to be nasty.
Look out. Yeah, one layer hasn't even been peeled back yet. Not even one layer.
Back yet.
L-Train. Stand by.
L-Train, when you played ball in high school, can you imagine the NIL deals that the team that you played on could have got?
Oh, my goodness gracious, man.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness gracious. No, I can't
Make you mad at your mother for having you when she did.
All right. Next question out of the bag is Duran from Omaha, Nebraska. We play down in Omaha every year, Omaha, Nebraska. Hey, guys, I rarely ever hear you talk baseball, but I got a question for you. Would you rather have Shohei Ohtani for 7 years or Pat Mahomes for 10?
I'll take that one.
Now, hey,
I'll take that one.
I'm going to acquiesce because I'm not a super big baseball guy. Like,
I'm a baseball guy.
I can get it too. And I'm going to be honest with you. For what Shohei Ohtani brings to the game, I'm going to take Shohei. Because don't get me wrong, Patrick Mahomes can throw that ball, throw that rock around. But Shohei Ohtani, he can hit that sucker out the park. He is a 5-tool player.
Pat Mahomes got rings, Rod.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Shohei ain't gonna be too far behind though. His rings is coming. Right. Okay. Right. The gentleman is a player. And like I said, the quiet part about Shohei Ohtani is that at any given time, they can put him on the mound. And he can pitch with the best of them. Okay, he's got a skill set. The only other person I saw similar to him, not him, just went into the Hall of Fame, and that's Ichiro Suzuki. Okay? Ichiro could do it all. Right. Okay,
I remember Ichiro. Yeah,
Ichiro could do it all. But Shohei Ohtani, he's got a skill set. He's gonna win championships. Trust me. Okay, because they got a good team. Yeah. But whether would I take Shohei for 7 and Pat for 10, I'm going to take Shohei for 7.
Yeah, I agree with you, Rod. He can pitch and he can hit. He can steal bases. He can do all of that. And then plus, too, injury factor. The injury factor. In football, Pat Mahomes is back there. He can get his head taken off at any moment, okay? Now, granted, he's been great. Pat Mahomes has been great. I don't care for him because, he's beaten our Browns. But again, the kid is great. But to answer your question, I'm definitely going to go with Shohei. Because again, he's our modern day Babe Ruth. We weren't around to see Babe Ruth, but we've heard all the stories and we've seen the records and, he's in the Hall of Fame. So I'll definitely go with, Shohei, the baseball guy. 100% all day. I'll go with Shohei.
The little bit that I know about baseball, I don't get a chance to watch a whole lot of it, but I have respect for who Shohei is.
Turn your TV on, L Train. Turn it on. It's on.
I know Shohei brings it to the table.
Turn it on.
I would have to agree with you guys if I had an opportunity to add something like that, as impactful as he is, to my organization. You can't miss that. I got a good one coming up right here.
They all good.
Yeah, this is from Mike from Pennsylvania. He says, "Hey guys, I love your show. Other than all of the Cleveland talk, so I want to talk a little bit of Pittsburgh Steelers." He said, "Would a healthy Justin Fields have succeeded in Pittsburgh?" Now, I thought the Steelers gave up on Justin Fields a little bit too early. But I'll let you guys answer that one. What do you got?
Yeah. Let me take it first, right? I think he would have. I love Justin Fields. And I'm sure you guys do, watching him at Ohio State and maybe even before then. And as a Browns fan, I'm glad that they moved on from Justin Fields. I really, really am. I'm glad they are. But yeah, honestly speaking, I was hoping that he would have really gotten a shot there. Because the kid, again, he wasn't managed well. He wasn't led well in Chicago. He wasn't. And once he got to that Steeler organization, I cringed. I said, oh, boy, he's around a big boy organization, a well-oiled machine, put together organization. So I thought he was going to do well. I thought he was going to do well. And it's unfortunate that, he's no longer there. Good for me as a Browns fan, though. But, yeah, I really think they would have done well if they would have had some patience with the kid. Really.
So, I guess this would be our Steelers side that we have to talk Steelers.
Yeah, got to talk some Steelers.
The 4-1-2.
I know you don't like us talking about the Cleveland Browns, but we'll talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers for a moment. No, seriously, they did give up on Justin Fields. I think they really didn't give him an opportunity. You're meaning to tell me that, that Justin Fields couldn't run that Steeler offense. He's a dual threat. He not only can throw the football, but he can use his legs and he can run the football. I think you really thought that Russell Wilson was a better quarterback. I really don't believe in that. And and he fit the Steeler culture. That's why I'm just like this Aaron Rodgers thing. I see that imploding really quickly. But once again, as a Browns fan, hey, good luck with y'all. Good luck with that. But to answer your question, yeah, they did. They gave up on Justin Fields really quickly. I just think that they should have gave him more time, gave him the run of the offense, and I think he reminds me a lot of a better Cordell Stewart, okay? Where Cordell wasn't the greatest thrower in the world, he could run the football, but I think Justin Fields
moved the ball.
Justin Fields has the ability to move the football, and prior to Aaron Rodgers getting there, you guys were leaning on Mason Graham. Was it not Mason Graham? I'm sorry, that's what the Browns picked. Mason Rudolph. Thank you. Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph. Yeah.
And so Pittsburgh gave up a little bit too soon.
Yeah.
And what was his record when they took the ball out of his hands? Wasn't he 4-2?
I believe he was 4-2.
Yeah, ridiculousness.
Yeah.
4-2, and then you take the ball out of his hands to give it to Russell Wilson to go ahead and just finish the season at 500. It made no sense to me.
Yeah, the one thing you don't want to be doing is answering the quarterback question every single year. You had a chance to have a franchise guys in there that looked pretty good when you gave him the ball until Russell Wilson came back. Now, what's really going to tell the tale is how well Aaron Rodgers looked, because everybody deserves their shot. And if Mike Tomlin thinks Aaron Rodgers is their shot for 1 year, then so be it. But Aaron Rodgers doesn't have a whole lot of gas left in the tank. So now after Aaron Rodgers retires, leaves, whatever, you're back shopping for another quarterback again. I love Will Howard because he is from the Ohio State University. Yeah. But if I'm being honest, I don't know if he's the long-term solution in Pittsburgh. That's going to be, something that's going to have to be answered and remains to be seen. So I agree with you guys, man. I think they gave up a little bit too early on Justin Fields. I thought they should have re-signed him, kept him there. And I thought under Mike Tomlin's tutelage, I think he could have had a pretty good career in Pittsburgh. Right. But again, I'm with you, T. I'm not glad that he's gone. They can move away and mess around with different quarterbacks every year. That only helps the Cleveland Browns.
And just to throw this out, hey, we ain't taking too many more Pittsburgh questions, Not too many more Pittsburgh Steelers.
But keep listening, but we don't want to hear your questions.
Hear all that Pittsburgh
keep
stuff.
Listening, we don't want to hear your questions.
CLE,
you're welcome in here. You're welcome in here.
Just joking. That's a great question. It's a great question.
412, y'all are welcome.
Absolutely.
Y'all are welcome.
Got a question from Mason from North Dakota. This is a good one, man. This is probably one of the best. All the questions have been good, but this is one of the best questions because I just don't know where to go with it, and I don't know what I think. But he asks, what hurts a player's legacy more, not winning a title or ring chasing and failing?
Ooh, wow.
That's a good one, man.
Wow. That is awesome.
Yeah. Probably ring chasing and failing, because we know there's numerous great players without rings. We know Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing. Oh my goodness. I can't even tap into football. A guy that I'm a fan of that's about to go into the Hall of Fame in football that never won a ring. Eric Allen, one of the best cover corners ever. So there's several players who, didn't, Reggie Miller, he didn't win a ring, so there's several out there. So I would have to say, to answer the young man's question, ring chasing and coming up short, but there's several players who, never won a championship. There's several.
I agree. I think ring chasing and falling up short will mess up a player's legacy. To me, and even I look at Shaquille O'Neal, for instance. He won 4 titles, but he continued to chase. He ended up in Cleveland. He ended up, in Boston, where he finished his career. It was just no ring chasing. To me, it kind of tarnished that legacy, and that's my opinion. I just think once the time is over, it's over. Just go ahead and step away. I look at Brett Favre, for instance. When Brett Favre, toward the end of his career, to me it was comical watching him, continue to try to chase this ring that wasn't, and to continue to try to, stick his finger in Green Bay's face. It didn't work out that way. And I see the same thing for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you're ring chasing. And at this point, it's like, up until that point, your legacy has been solidified. You're a Hall of Famer. You're a great player. But now what? Because you're not going to get another ring. It's just not going to happen. So I agree. I think when you start ring chasing, and then you don't get it, you start to tarnish your legacy. That's just me. I believe that.
Kind of like, Rod, you're a boxing man, kind of like guys that are hanging around too long, without taking the gloves off, like Roy Jones Jr. you're talking about. He just
I watched Muhammad Ali get pummeled by Larry Holmes. And he should have never been in the ring, but he wanted to win that championship one more time. And that one more time was the worst. It would to watch a legend at 38 years old just get pummeled. You know what I mean? So, no, at that point, you just got to know when enough is enough.
I think it depends on when you do it, how you do it, and how many times you do it. Like, I'm not with these guys that are mercenaries that go from team
That's a good
to
word.
team to team to team. If you, let's say hypothetically, the way KG did it, if you're Kevin Garnett and you spend a good 90% of your career with the Minnesota Timberwolves and it looks like Minnesota's not going anywhere and you want your shot. Like, I think every athlete out there should be able to get their shot at least once. And so he made the move to Boston and he won his championship. I don't give a lot of flack for players that want to do that. It's these guys, like you guys have mentioned, the Brett Favres, the Aaron Rodgers, that go from team to team to team, ring chasing, and they never get it. You could argue, we were talking about Kevin Durant earlier. Yeah, he won a championship with Golden State, but I don't think a lot of people out there give him a lot of credit. No. Even though he was MVPs in those series, gives him a lot of credit in winning that ring with Golden State because the team was already great. They had already won championships.
Right.
And without them, he has not been able to get a ring. So I think it depends on how it's done, when it's done, and how many times a player jumps from team to team. But that's a great question.
Great question. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Great question. Come back next week with another.
Exactly.
Come back next week with another.
Last one in the question bag is from Eric from Texas. He said, and we talked about this a little bit last week. Who has had the most disappointing career so far, Zion Williamson or Ben Simmons?
Ooh, they're pretty much neck and neck,
sir.
Yeah, they're pretty much neck and neck. Because we know all the games that Zion has missed, and then Ben just underachieve. Underachieve. Yeah, just underachieved. Oh,
you guys
man.
remember Ben Simmons in college?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Lethal. He was lethal. And he had a jump shot, too. And he had a shot. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. And whose roster did he finish off on? With the Clippers, right? He was with the Clippers. Yeah, with the Clippers. Right. He's with the Clippers, and he, they're both have been totally underwhelming to this point. All both of them. Yeah, underwhelming is the least I can say. Yeah, underwhelming.
For me, I think I would answer the question with the question is who has the most potential of resurrecting their career?
That's a great way to look at it.
That would answer the question. And to me, it's Zion Williamson.
Yeah, and I would say
Zion Williamson has the better upside than Ben Simmons. I do agree with you, T, that they are neck and neck at knocking on the door of early retirement. But I think Zion Williamson has a better opportunity when he gets with a bunch of grown men and, to change his career around. He still has a shot. Where Ben Simmons, something is just not vibing with him. I don't think he loves the game anymore. I think he's playing it for the money. I don't think he's really chasing a ring. I think he's just playing to get paid. And
look good. He's the best looking guy on the bench. He's the best dressed on the bench.
So for me, it's hands down Ben Simmons. It's Ben Simmons because yes, I remember the LSU Ben Simmons. He could defend at a high level.
Oh, yes,
he was a 6'9" point guard who could hit an outside shot. And he got to Philly, and oh my goodness, something just
fell off.
Something went off. And so, I think Zion Williamson has the better upside than Ben Simmons. So I would choose Ben Simmons in this particular question. That's a great question, though.
Yeah. I would choose Ben Simmons as well. I think it's a great way to look at it, who has the most upside. Zion Williamson, as I said it last week, he's been disappointing, but I don't think he's fallen off like Ben Simmons. And I think because his ceiling was so high. I mean, he was supposed to be what John Moran, Anthony Edwards, all these guys are now.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be the face of the league.
SGA,
And so he has not been that, but he hasn't been bottom of the barrel either. So I agree with you guys in those questions. Hey, keep sending those questions out there.
Yeah.
We will answer really, really good questions, man. You guys doing a great job with that. As you know, fellas, each week I come up with these games. So I got another game for you, all right? This week, this game is going to be called Stamp It or Scrap It, all right? Stamp It or Scrap It. And so here's the objective. We as Three the Hard Way content creators, we're going to keep track on who's been right the most, meaning who gets the most stamps, and who's been wrong the most. That means who scraps it. And we're going to keep this for a year's time, all right?
Okay.
And at this time next year, we're going to look at it and see who has the most stamps. We're going to get 5.
At least that lets me know we got staying power. We got staying power.
That's right. So I got 5 questions today. And you guys are either going to stamp it, all right, meaning that it's credible, you agree with it, that this is going to happen, or you're going to scrap it, all right? So the first question is about my Minnesota Vikings, all right? And this one is about JJ McCarthy. So the first question is, JJ McCarthy will start week 1. Will he throw more than 3 touchdowns in his first game as a Minnesota Viking against the Chicago Bears?
He's going to start, but he ain't throwing 3 touchdowns in that first game.
You want to scrap that? He's not
scrap
throwing
that.
3
Scrap
touchdowns.
that. Yeah, scrap that. He ain't throwing 3 touchdowns. No,
scrap that. Absolutely. He is not.
Yeah, scrap that.
He's going to come in. He's going to perform well, but he's not throwing 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Even against the Bears, he's not throwing 3 touchdowns. Scrap that.
Yeah. He may throw 2 and then run one in from the 10-yard line.
I am going to scrap that as well. I think JJ McCarthy is going to be box office for the Minnesota Vikings. First game, there's going to have to be some nerves. Keep in mind, man, no matter what you think about Chicago Bears, they got a legit defense. Their defense is no joke. So he's not going to be able to go up and down the field on the Chicago Bears. I think 3 touchdowns is a little bit much. I think he has about 250 yards throwing. I think he has a touchdown, maybe 1 pick. I think the Minnesota Vikings win the game, but 3 touchdowns, that's a little bit hard.
Yeah. Hey, and Rod, you see he had to throw his guy in there first.
Did you notice that?
He had to throw his guy in there first.
He had to throw a little JJ in there. No, scrap that. Scrap that.
UP Nation told him that. Hey, UP Nation told him he better have. Yeah, UP Nation told him he better have.
I had to do that. All right,
that was a good one. That was a good one.
Houston Texans now. Houston Texans. The Houston Texans will reach the AFC Championship game. Stamp it or scrap it.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Track of these.
Scrap it.
I'm going to be honest with you because my heart is with Nick Chubb, and the Texans have Nick Chubb now. I would love to see him go to the AFC Championship, but scrap that. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens.
You know what? I'll be honest with you, T.
Not that I want them to, but it's going to be them.
I ain't too enamored with the Ravens over the last couple years, man, when they get into the playoffs.
They'll beat Houston there. I mean, they'll get Houston there, right?
I've watched Lamar Jackson go for, run and pass for like 15 billion yards, but then get into the playoffs and then they flame out. I don't understand. Yeah. So I know they'll get there, but But no, to answer the question, scrap that. Scrap that. Texas not going to be there. Scrap that.
Yeah, I'm going to scrap it because you got teams. It wouldn't be a smart pick to stamp it because you still got the Chiefs. You still got the Buffalo Bills. Mm-hmm. You still got the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, they're going to have to bypass a lot of those teams. And so to be able to stamp that, man, I would have to scrap that myself. So we all agree to scrap that. Right. All right. Victor Wembanyama will lead the league in block shots next season and rebounds. Stamp it or scrap it?
I'll stamp that. I'll stamp it. Just because how tall he is. I'll stamp that.
My brain flow for a second. I'm trying to see what else is in the league. Because Evan Mobley's not going to win Defensive Player of the Year again.
I don't see that.
Now. No, so I stamp that. Wembanyama's going to come back. He's going to come back strong. I can see him leading the league in blocks. Yeah, I can see that. Stamp that.
Yeah, I'm going to stamp that as well. I think he's going to have a great opportunity to lead the league in rebounding. He's getting better and better in that category in the last 2 years that he's played, and he's definitely going to be up there, if not the top, in terms of block shots. So that will be smart to stamp that. The Phoenix Suns will blow up their team completely, trading Kevin Durant and Devin Booker.
I'll stamp that because it needs to happen. I'll stamp it. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll stamp. They're gonna blow that thing up.
I scrap.
They're gonna blow it up.
I scrap that.
They're gonna blow it up.
I don't believe that. Devin Booker is one of the more popular players here in Phoenix. Devin Booker here in Phoenix is like Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland. And if you get rid of Donovan Mitchell right now, they'd hang it in effigy. So Devin Booker will be a Phoenix Sun. Now Kevin Durant will not be. Okay, but Devin Booker will be. So I have to scrap that because you're looking for both of them.
Would Devin Booker work his way out of there? Will he say, "Hey, I want out of here"?
After KD Devin Booker.
Yeah. I don't want to be. He don't want to be stuck there with Bradley Beal. He don't want to be stuck there with Bradley Beal.
I think Devin Booker would ask to get out of there is if the pieces that they bring back in would not be conducive for them to win. So if they're going to get rid of Kevin Durant, they need to bring a haul back. Some quality players that's going to be able to help Devin Booker out. If they don't do that, then I can see Devin Booker saying, all right, get me up out of here. Because he's already on a Hall of Fame track. He's won the Olympics. He's right now, currently, he's one of the top players. But he doesn't have any help. Bradley Beal vetoed the trade that would try to get him some help. You know what I mean? So, but just for conversation's sake, I scrap it because I don't think Devin Booker's going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm going to stamp it, but I think this is the way it's going to work out. I think Kevin Durant obviously is going to be gone before the season starts, and I think the team is going to be not very good to start the season, and I think there's going to be a lot of attractive offers out there for Devin Booker at the trade deadline. So by the time this comes around next year, I can see the Phoenix Suns being in full rebuild mode, trying to get something, trying to, ease the impact of losing to Kevin Durant and trying to get something for Devin Booker. So I don't think they're going to blow it up before the season starts. I think Devin Booker is on that roster to start the season, but I could kind of see a situation where people start to come banging at the door during the trade deadline to try to get him out of there because he's such an impactful player. So I will stamp that. Last one, fellas. The Boston Celtics will reach the Eastern Conference Finals next year. Stamp it or scrap it?
Scrap that.
Nope.
No Jason Tatum. Scrap that. Yep. Al Horford is retired.
Right.
They still got to pay $50 billion between Tatum and Brown. They don't have any wiggle room. And to be honest with you, and it just hit me, when we talked about Darius Garland, there's a possibility that once Darius Garland, if he's traded to Minnesota, that the Cavaliers will come back and look for Drew Holiday to come and replace. So, no, Boston's done. Their time is done. Unfortunately, it's done. They're finished.
Take a fork in them. Yep,
fellas,
they're done.
I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you. I am going to stamp it only because I think we're looking at the Boston Celtics currently constructed. These are the Boston Celtics, and things just find a way to work out for the Boston Celtics, the Los Angeles Lakers in terms of accumulating players when you think that they aren't going to accumulate any players. I look at the rest of the Eastern Conference. All of them have question marks. Philadelphia 76ers, New York Knicks, Cleveland Cavaliers. The Indiana Pacers is the one team that I think is going to be heard from again next year. But I got to, there you go.
Detroit.
And Detroit. Yep, forgot about Detroit. Can't forget about them. But I'm going to go out on a limb. I don't know how smart it is to pick the Boston Celtics, but I just got a feeling Boston's not going to go away quietly. They're not going to go away quietly. So I'm going to hesitantly stamp that one.
It's free.
All
free flowing. It's free flowing.
It's fluid. Yeah, it's fluid. Yeah. All right. So we got some good stamp it or scrap it questions. We'll keep track of those. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I love that.
Yep,
I love that.
Lots
I like
of,
that one.
Lots of
I
fun.
like that.
Okay, fellas, I got mine. Start one, bench one, cut one, erase one for the week. Now, I had to think really hard because you guys have been bringing it the last couple of weeks. I got it on my phone, so I'm gonna let my phone power up for a little bit because I had it off. But I had to come up with something where I'm like, I know T's gonna be ready. I know Hot Rod's gonna be ready. I gotta bring this to the table. So this one, because I know you guys aren't just mainstream sports fans, but you guys like to watch the Olympics too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this one is all about the Olympics. All right, so let me pull this up really quick. Let me pull this up. Forgive me out there in 3 the hard way land. I have my phone off because I know people like to bug me on my phone while I'm on the broadcast. Let's see where it is. Oh, here we go. All right, start one, bench one, cut one. Here it is, fellas. All right, this is the Olympics and moments in the Olympics that were great that you really can't get back. So when you think about erasing something, really, really think about it, fellas. Really, really think about it. Okay, my first one is Michael Phelps, the all-time great swimmer for the United States and his run in the Olympics. Michael Phelps won a tremendous amount of gold medals. 8 gold medals in Beijing in 2008, fellas. 8 gold medals in Beijing in 2008. My second one is Usain Bolt, 9.58 100-meter world record. All right? You guys remember Usain Bolt, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Then you got Simone Biles, historic all-around win in 2016, fellas. One of the greatest, one of the greatest, if not the greatest gymnast of all time. And then as a cherry on top of the sundae, my last one, I'm going to throw in there the Dream Team domination of 1992 with all the greats. Jordan, Stockton, Bird, Karl Malone, Charles Barkley. Who do you start?
Wow.
Who do you bench? Who do you cut?
Oh.
And here's the hard one. Who do you erase from the record books?
Man. Wow.
You want me to go, T? Because I'm here.
You go, Rod, because I'm still trying
I'm already here. You know me. I'll be Mr. Controversial.
Rod.
I don't have no problem with it. So here we go.
Man.
So I'm going to start the Dream Team.
Woo!
I'm going to bench Michael Phelps. I'm going to cut Simone Biles. And I'm going to erase Usain Bolt.
Ooh,
wow.
Okay, man. Why erase Bolt?
Yeah, wow.
Like you're talking about one of the greatest Jamaican sprinters of all time. Why did that come in on your erase platform?
You want me to be perfectly honest?
Yeah.
3 of the 4 are Americans.
Okay. There you go.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
Patriot
of the bunch.
3 of the 4 are Americans.
Patriot
I had
of the
to
bunch.
look at it, and because they all have accomplished great things. And of course we know about the Dream Team.
Yeah.
Simone Biles, what she did was the next level. Michael Phelps, what he did was extraordinary. And it's not a knock on Usain Bolt, but to be perfectly honest, I chose Usain to be erased because the other 3 are American.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to go on the severity, if that makes sense, of the event how tough the event is, okay? And I think what Simone Biles does is just hands down just phenomenal, okay? Being up in the air, and that's just a neck break away, but to be able to land on a beam, I tell you. So she's definitely getting a start. Again, just based on just how tough that sport is itself. So Simone gets the start. I'm going to put Michael Phelps on the bench because swimming is no joke.
Yep.
I've swam. I'm a Navy guy. Michael Phelps, I'm going to put him on the bench. I'm going to erase the Dream Team just because, hey, we were supposed to be that dominant as, American ball players. And I'll cut Usain Bolt. So, again, I'm basing it on just the toughness of the sport itself. That's how I'm going to roll with this thing.
Love the takes. I am going to start Michael Phelps. I think the accomplishment of Michael Phelps, those 8 gold medals in Beijing and multiple events, sometimes you have to race multiple times in a night to be able to accomplish that. I don't know if that'll ever be done again in swimming. So I'm starting Michael Phelps. Number 2 is Miss Simone Biles. I always look at the journey, and I think you have not, over the course of a lot of years, seen a whole lot of black gymnasts especially excel in that sport like she did. So I know her journey was tough, even if I don't know the ins and outs of her backstory. For her to be able to accomplish that, and again, T, you bring up a great point, just the challenge of each event. When all eyes are on you, the world is watching, and just the pressure that you have, I got to bench Simone Biles. And then you look at who to cut. I am going to cut the Dream Team, and I am going to erase Usain Bolt. I almost flip-flopped him, man, but I look at the Dream Team came around when it was really needed. The world was catching up to the United States in basketball. And if you remember that time, they got a little bit cocky, fellas, because they were starting to beat us in some exhibitions and making games tough. And we were like, wait a minute, we're not sending our best. We're sending college kids. And, they still were, overseas talking trash. And so we had to send our best. So that team in history is just a special team. So I had to cut them. And then Usain Bolt, Rod, you made a great point. All these guys and gals did a great job. With their individual sports, they accomplished some great things. But I give a pass to the American athletes out there. But Usain Bolt, I can totally respect what he did. I mean, that dude during his course of his reign was very dominant, and nobody could touch him. So that is my start one, bench one, cut one, erase one.
That's a good one. I got next week. I'm gonna get y'all next week.
All right, fellas, parting shots. What do you got for parting shots before we wrap it up?
I had a couple, but I'm going to stay close to home. And one person last week said we don't talk enough women's sports. I'm going to give a shout out to the Norfolk State Lady Spartans, who the last couple years have been in the Sweet 64, as I call it, because they've won the MEAC tournament. So they've been rewarded for the next year. Well, next year they're going to have a home-and-home against Duke and a home-and-home against Ole Miss. So that's awesome. And those young ladies are excited over there. I know, Lionel, you were saying you knew somebody that may be in the running for that job. But I'm proud of the local Norfolk State Lady Spartans, who, again, are going to get a home and away game against Ole Miss and against Duke. They're going to play, a next level of girls, let them see something that they're not used to seeing. So good on them to be able to have that talent come in here to the little old 757 next year in women's college basketball. That's a good thing. So for
me, I'm going to give my parting shot to the NFL cheapskates of the month, which is the Cincinnati Bengals. Shamar Stewart.
Tell us how you really feel, Rod.
Yeah, Shamar Stewart, who is, I think was the 17th pick in the draft, a rookie, did not sign his rookie deal because the Bengals have restructured his rookie contract, which they cannot do and they should not do. So this young man has held out of training camp. He's going to hold out. He held out for OTAs, and he's a rookie. And he's not asking for anything that most rookies won't ask. But the Bengals just being cheapskates. You understand? They spent, and I know my Cincinnati fans will come in. Well, we spent money on Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Yeah, but you got Henderson out here who's hit the media and said you won't pay him. Right. And then you got not just Shamar Stewart, but you got another rookie there that they're trying to redo his contract, his rookie deal. So the Brown family, as much as I love them because they created the Cleveland Browns, they are a cheapskate organization. And so thanks to Shamar Stewart for standing 10 toes down, and for the Cincinnati Bengals, you guys got to get it together. So, of course, a little Browns hate will go to you because all we worried about is Shador. So all you guys got to do is worry about, can you sign everybody else?
There you go.
That's
good
a
real good one.
As a coach.
Real good one. Remember when their coach that time said, "Hey, you're not in Cleveland,
Sam
behave."
Weiss.
Remember who was that coach of the Bengals? Remember? Yeah, Sam Weiss. Yeah. You're not in Cleveland. The heck with him.
My parting shot is this, as coaches and when you work with young people, even in the military, communication is key. Being able to communicate with people, it's a really powerful thing. And I think sometimes communication can be underutilized. Something really horrific happened near me this past week. When you talk about, this will never be a political show. We are not a political show, so we're not going to come over here and talk about politics. But sometimes stuff just kind of intervene. And I'm talking about the shootings that happened in Champlin, Minnesota, and Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. It hits home for me because I helped start the boys basketball program at Champlin Park High School. My journey through coaching, it was a brand new school. I helped start the boys program there. And then after I got that up and running, I went to Park Center High School, which was in Brooklyn Park. My brother, his wife, and his family still lives in Brooklyn Park, about 2 blocks away from where these shootings happened. So they were on lockdown yesterday. So when it gets to the point where stuff like this starts to intervene, just things with a little bit of communication can just dampen some of the anger out there. I think we all have to be better as human beings, sit down to the table, try to work out our differences, try to talk out our differences so it doesn't get to the point where we have these horrific incidences like we had this past weekend. Just very, very unfortunate, and my heart goes out to the families. But that is my parting shot, fellas. That's my parting shot.
Yeah.
Great shot. And prayers
Great
go
shot.
out to the families.
Yep.
Yeah,
prayers up to all
on that horrific. Absolutely.
And to our nation as a whole.
Great take.
Yep. Big news for 3 the Hard Way. We've got a special guest coming on, not next Sunday, but the Sunday after next. Mr. Brian Barry, screenwriter and director of just some great movies. Hey, Mr. Postman, Workout Partners. He's got a brand new book coming out. And guess what? He's a Warrensville homeboy. So, I mean, man, when you talk about Warrensville, you can continue to pick out a lot of people that have just gone from that school, which was just a great community and great school, to where they are right now.
That's it.
It produced us.
It produced us. It produced us. And I want his book in my store,
absolutely.
So let him know
He'll
that.
be
I want his book in my store.
I reached out to him and I said, hey, man, I see you got a book coming out. We would love to promote your book and have you come on, talk a little bit of sports for us. He's a big Cleveland Browns fan, man. Brian Barry's a big Cleveland Browns fan. Big sports fan, and also he was a hell of a basketball player in high school as well. So I'm not surprised that he has made it and has been as successful as he is. But it's big news for our show. He will be on 3 the Hard Way. He's looking forward to coming on and talking a little bit of sports with us. Well, again, fellas, it was a great Sunday. Great to have you guys on. I appreciate your time.
And maybe he can teach Rod a thing or two while he's here. Teach Rod a thing or two.
Hey, well, listen.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Hey, Brian's a rookie on the podcast thing. So I'm going to save some really good questions from the fans just for Brian Barry. I can't wait to get him on the show, y'all. Can't wait to get him on. Well, this has been 3 the Hard Way. Hey, please hit that like and subscribe button. We are growing. Every time I look at the subscribers, we are growing. I think we're up to about 167 subscribers in the span of like 3 weeks. I mean, we've just been rocking it up. So we appreciate all your support, all your feedback. Continue to talk to us in the comments. We'll answer you back. We ain't scared.
No,
we ain't scared.
Not at all.
Sure will. Sure will.
Not at all.
We'll answer you back. But this is...
Especially if you're from Pittsburgh, we'll answer back.
If you're from Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, I'm for all of it. Bring it.
Yeah. Well, this has been 3 the Hard Way, and we'll make sure to see you when we see you next week.
Great.
3 the Hard Way. Thanks, fellas.
All right.
Happy Father's Day.
Y'all brothers have a blessed week.
Yeah, I will.
Stay cool out there.
Happy Father's Day,
gentlemen.
all the fathers out there. We'll see you when we see you. Later.
All right. Y'all be blessed. Take care.